Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and my voice is still on vacation. I'll let you know when it decides to come back a little bit. Until then, we're just going to keep going on and doing the show without it. It's awesome to have you guys here today, as we have a whole bunch of really great stuff to talk about, including, you know, a little bit of Grease action going on, a little bit of stuff about the future of the Russo brothers going on, new Cinderella movie, and all that kind of stuff. Been joining us here today to talk about all this good stuff is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
John, I'm feeling pretty good about being part of the circle of life today. That's all I can say.
It's the circle of life. Oh, and also joining us in the great circle of life is, of course, Ashley Whalen. Ashley, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, you guys. I'm good. I'm have some pep in my step after seeing a certain trailer this morning.
I am telling you what, if I didn't already have a little pep in my step today, which I always do just because we get to talk movies, I certainly do now. Weepy-eyed mess is kind of what I turned into this morning, but we'll get to that in just a second. Guys, we got a bunch of topics laid out here today. We're going to go right off the top with this. This just came out here this morning. Now, we know the Avengers Endgame tickets went on sale on April 2nd. We also know that most of the online ticket sales folks got caught with their pants around their ankles because despite the fact that they've had this happen several times already over the last couple of years, they still weren't prepared to manage with the overhaul enough. Well, anyway, we've known that this was going to set all sorts of advanced ticket sales records, but were we ready for by just how much? Fandango is now reporting that in the first week of advanced ticket sales, the ticket sales for Avengers Endgame has outsold the ticket sales for Avengers Infinity War, not by double, not by triple, but by 5 times. 5 times as many tickets were sold for Avengers Endgame than Avengers Infinity War in its first week of advanced ticket sales. Now, on one hand, Robert, this isn't a surprise. This is actually a little bit expected. We've been saying forever that every single week, more and more people are adopting buying tickets in advance online. That every single year, more and more people, the importance of opening weekend is growing more and more. More and more people try to go see their movies that they're interested in on opening weekends. We expected record-setting advanced ticket sales and all that kind of stuff. But even I will tell you that while I was fully expecting this because of the growing trends and all this kind of stuff, and guess what? Within the next 2 or 3 years, this Avengers Endgame record will get broken too because more and more people will adopt it. But even I, Robert, wasn't really fully expecting, I was thinking maybe triple. I wasn't expecting 5 times the record of Infinity War. That's a huge number. You hear that, what's your first reaction to that? And what do you attribute something like that to?
Well, I just think that Avengers Endgame it's a cultural event. I mean, like it or not, the same way that Star Wars has been a big part of the culture, Avengers, the entire MCU, has become the new franchise du jour for the last 11 years. And, you know, I keep getting letters from people. I got a letter to my website from a kid who was born in 2000. And he talked about the first time he was not a comic book fan. And in 2008, he was 8 years old. And his mother took him to see Iron Man for the first time. Not only did that make him an instant fan of Iron Man, but he started reading comics. And now he just turned 19. I think he probably turned 19 yesterday or even today. And he's like, I've grown up with these people. You know, these people are my people, you know, and I think they're my people too. And I'm 3 times, 4 times. No, not 4 times. Not even 3 times. But I'm older than him. And I think that this franchise, these characters, these actors that inhabit these characters, the stories that they're telling have just become a part of the culture. And with all of our divisive politics and all the craziness that's going on in the world, the MCU represents sort of an imaginative, happy place for the world, where even in the face of universal Armageddon, these people will still fight for us. They will still fight for mankind. And that's who we need today. And I think that I've been saying to you that I think I think there's a whole new group of fans. I think there's people over the last year that have watched this movie ad infinitum, like I have on whether it's on Blu-ray or whether it's on Netflix. I clicked it on yesterday, Infinity War. People are waiting, man. They're primed. This is a global cultural event. And you know what? It's just going to put a smile on everyone's face unless it leaves everyone a weeping mess and I think it's fantastic.
And of course, unless it sucks. I mean, that's always the other thing too. We always got to keep that in mind that maybe it sucks. Here's the thing I'm going to say about this though. I believe the upcoming Star Wars Episode 9 is also going to outsell Infinity War in advance first week ticket sales. Not because I think people are more looking forward to Star Wars Episode 9 than they were to Infinity War, but because, again, the growing trend, more people try to go see movies in opening weekend, and more and more people are using advanced ticket sales. So I think Star Wars Episode 9 is going to break Infinity War's record as well. I don't think it'll sell as many as Endgame at this point, but I do believe in the next couple of years, this Endgame record will be broken as well. But even with all those asterisks, it's an impressive number, dude. It's an impressive number. It means a lot of people are going out. It shows the growth of this industry as far as people getting their tickets, advance online, the excitement for the thing, and all that kind of stuff. You know, somebody mentioned this to me yesterday. Well, John, that means automatically this movie, somebody wrote to me and said, 5 times the amount of Infinity War. That means this movie's going to make like $12 billion. I'm like, no, time out. This just means people, instead of waiting to buy their tickets when the movie was coming out, there just more people are buying them now. But this is an interesting thing. You and I have talked about the possibility of this thing. What are the possibilities of this thing hitting 300 million opening weekend? Now, you and I have both said before that we have our doubts. And I got to say, even with this impressive sounding number, I still have my doubts, because here's the thing. When a movie is sold out, it's sold out. It doesn't matter if it sells out in 1 minute. It doesn't matter if it sells out in 1 hour. It doesn't matter if it sells out in 1 week. When a screening is sold out, it's sold out. That screening can make no more money. And to put this into context, here's the one reason why I still wonder if it can hit 300 million. And I do believe it'll break the new record. I just don't know that it'll hit 300 million, because Avengers Infinity War made about $250 million opening weekend, which is the record, right? To suggest the idea that Endgame can make 300 million logically means that on the opening weekend that Infinity War came out, that there was $50 million worth of empty seats the weekend that Infinity War came out. Now, understanding that the average movie ticket price across America is just under $10, that means for Endgame to hit 300 million means that Infinity War opening weekend had to have 5 million empty seats in their theaters opening weekend. Were there 5 million empty seats opening weekend for Infinity War? I don't know. Maybe it's possible, but it's just the math doesn't seem to line up for a $300 million opening weekend, compounded by the fact that it's a 3-hour-long movie, only so many tickets to go around. But Rob, you said before you didn't think it could get 300 million. You're hearing numbers like this now. Does it make you reevaluate your position on that?
Well, not only we're talking a 3-hour movie. Yeah. So it's a half an hour longer than Infinity War.
Yeah.
And how many venues are even available in, I guess they include domestic and they include North American box office. So it's Canada as well.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if the venues exist, if the seats exist for a 3-hour film. But if they leave the theaters open, I really do think this is enough of a cultural event that maybe theaters open for 24 hours. Maybe but they did for Infinity War. They did for the first. Yeah.
I remember being at the AMC Burbank 16 when nobody used advanced ticket sales, right? So people were still lining up to buy their tickets at the AMC Burbank 16 when the first Avengers came out. And I remember every 15 minutes they were adding new screenings until every single screen in the AMC Burbank 16 was running 24 hours. All 16 theaters, 24 hours it was running, all that kind of stuff. And they were all selling out. And I'm thinking, how many seats are left? How much more money is there to be made? I just don't know.
This is a crazy time. I would like to, just because it would give me such joy if it made $300 million domestic. I would just love that number. But I think what's most important to remember, I mean, we get caught up in the box office. I think what's really great about it is that there's just this kind of excitement for a movie. And not only just a movie, but a comic book movie, a flight of fancy, a flight of imagination that the MCU was able to do this. And that after this is their 22nd film, they've been able to sustain this for 10 years, 11 years. It's unprecedented in Hollywood history. It's certainly unprecedented in my life. And I think what's so awesome about this is it just proves that the power of cinema, the power of event cinema, the power of imagination, the power of superheroes has not been diminished in our culture. Indeed, it's something that brings so many people joy, and that alone is to be lauded. I mean, who's ever done this before? No one. And it's crazy, and I'm excited, and I would love to see it because, look, as you and I well know, money is all that really at the bottom. As much as I talk about, movies mean so much to me. Well, you know what means a lot to people like Mr. Bob Iger, my hero? He texted me just this morning. He's like, did you see this article about Fandango? And I said, yeah, bro, I did. Nicely done, son. Well done acquiring Marvel. But the fact that they're making money, that these kinds of movies, these grand imaginative visions that Kevin Feige has put together over a decade prove that this kind of thing is viable. That means the entertainment business is still doing gangbuster business, unless we not forget with Game of Thrones coming up in a mere few days. The imagination in April. I never thought of April as being a particularly imaginative month because my mother's not very imaginative and it's her birthday month. But I'm going to have to reassess my assessment. You know, man, I think this is cool.
Here's the funny thing, though. When this movie does not hit 300 million opening weekend, and I think there's a shot. I think there's a shot, but I don't think it will. It's just that idea that there was 5 million empty seats for Infinity War. I can't wrap my head around that. But if it doesn't hit 300 million, here's the hilarious thing. There are going to be detractors of Marvel, detractors of comic book movies, detractors out there going, oh, it underperformed because it didn't hit 300 million. I'm just, as ridiculous as that sounds, I'm just telling y'all, get ready for that. It's going to happen. If Infinity War breaks the opening weekend box office record, its own record, by the way, and makes like an unheard of, unprecedented amount of money, like 275 million opening weekend or 280 million opening weekend. I am telling you right now, there are going to be detractors out there going, oh, well, what went wrong? It didn't hit 300 million. It underperformed. I'm just telling you right now, I guarantee it, 100%. There are going to be fools out there saying crap like that. But anyway, it is really interesting to see this type of phenomenon. You know, people will often ask me, they say, you know, John, why are you so focused on box office? Why is it just about the money? It's not about the money. I keep trying to tell people this all the time. The thing about the box office is that the box office doesn't just tell us how much money a movie makes. That's not what it tells us. Sure, that's one of the things it tells us. What box office also tells us, though, is what is motivating the audience right now. It tells us what are we as a film fan community getting excited about. It allows us the opportunity to look at the structure of a movie and even by extension, the construction of a movie's marketing campaign and saying, wow, that is really working. Why is that working? Why does this get the attention of us as a movie-going audience? Why are we excited by this and that? Box office numbers aren't just about money. They're about interest and attention and motivation. And it kind of gets in a snapshot, what is it that we as movie audiences are paying attention to? And those things are the things that really fascinate me when we start talking about the box office. And when we put it into context about what we're seeing with Endgame right now, holy crap, it's getting the audience's attention. I mean, people are lining up to go see this thing. It's going to make a huge amount of money, yes, but it's the cultural impact that you were pointing out, Rob, that I think is the really most impressive thing here. So there's a lot of good stuff for us to look at. All right. Listen, we've talked enough about that. What do you guys think about these numbers coming out of Fandango? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Now, with that down, there's one other off-the-top thing we're going to talk about here. Also dropping this morning is maybe one of the greatest events of my lifetime, Robert. The dropping of the new Lion King trailer. The new trailer dropped today. It is not what they showed us at CinemaCon. They just showed us this big, long 5-minute clip at CinemaCon that was impressive and fabulous and had everybody weeping, almost crying when they stopped playing the clip. Like everybody in the audience was like, no, bring it back up. This trailer dropped today. And all I can say is I had wet eyes. I was dumbfounded. It was magic. It was whimsical. It was emotional. It was a, dare I say, borderline religious experience for me this morning, Robert.
Wow,
as I came to the altar of Pride Rock, it was everything I want a trailer to be. It was an emotional experience. I cannot believe how this thing looks. Ann and I sat down and watched it together this morning, and she was just like, her jaw was open. My jaw was open. Hearing classic lines, but also hearing new lines that were never in the original. Things, you know, there will be those who look to you know, being king is about finding what you can take. Being king is about finding what you can give. And I'm like, oh, yes, Mufasa, yes. And, you know, I am blown away. I'll tell you this right now. Better than anything we've seen out of Endgame so far. And that's going to be, that's not detracting away from anything Endgame's put out. That's not detracting away from anything, any of the great trailers we've seen come out over the past couple of months. But this was moving and motivating and all this kind of stuff. Now, one of the things about this trailer, I'll say too, is that it is kind of the same thing that the Endgame trailers have been. This was a trailer designed to get the attention of those who are already on board with Lion King. Much like a lot of the Endgame trailers were, where, you know, my one commentary on a lot of the Endgame trailers has been, they're great trailers, but they are definitely targeted at the already existing fan base. I would say this is the same thing about this Lion King trailer. This wasn't a trailer with a lot of action. This wasn't a trailer with a lot of that kind of stuff. This was a trailer, I believe, to reach out to the culture and say, the Lion King is back. And just gave us those moments. And considering it's his first real trailer, that's kind of what they had to do. So I don't believe this is a trailer that's going to get people who have never seen The Lion King excited. I don't think this is a trailer that's going to do any of that. But it was what it needed to be for its first big full trailer. I adored this trailer. I cannot believe the character designs. I cannot believe Anne was just weepy looking at little baby Simba. Like every time baby Simba came up, Anne was like, oh, and her like, tears would start to come and all this kind of stuff. Dude, this movie looks so good. I cannot wait for this damn movie. Anyway, Rob, you saw it this morning. What did you think about the Lion King trailer?
Well, first of all, it's astonishing. You know, I think back, you know, I worked on the special features for Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And the animal, the realistic CG portrayal of Aslan was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to can we make a photorealistic lion that's going to interact with the natural environment and human beings with all the hair, and it's going to be believable? And the answer was yes. I was looking at this trailer, and it's so astonishing, the technology that's available and what's going on. Now, here's the funny thing. I was so captivated by what I was seeing. The very last bit where I started hearing that familiar
I'm
like, oh yeah, there's music in there. And if my smile wasn't already broad enough on my face, I was grinning from literally from ear to ear, because I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see these animals sing. You know, I mean, again, you know, I don't think there's anybody in the world between the animated series, or the animated film, the Broadway show, Elton John's concerts. I don't think that there's not many corners of the globe that don't know or haven't seen The Lion King. I think, like Endgame, in a different way, this is something that every parent has seen, every child has seen, everybody of the last 30 years has, or whatever, 25 years, has some experience with The Lion King. So I think, you know, I don't know anyone who hasn't seen The Lion King or doesn't know The Lion King, but again, this is like the best crack cocaine I can ever imagine being distilled in wherever it's distilled. I mean, this was like mainlining joy, mainlining ecstasy was like what this trailer was. And you know, it was cotton candy at a country fair when you're 5 years old. I mean, that's what drinking this trailer in was like. And I think the whole world, I don't care where you're from, what your socioeconomic background is, what your belief system is, you watch this trailer, come on, man. You're gonna walk around like moonbeams and rainbows are coming out of your ears.
I can't wait. It feels like it's really, truly like revolutionary technology that's bridging live action and animation. I've never seen anything like that before. I was watching it and I was like a little sleepy. And at first I'm like, wait, are these real? And then I was like, okay, no, they're definitely animated. And then I was just swept away by how powerful it was. And this is just a trailer. Like, this is a guaranteed amazing film to me. Like, it's not going to disappoint. There's no way. When Simba put his tiny little paw in Mufasa's print, I was like, oh. Amazing.
Well, John, we saw at CinemaCon, they show the brief trailer where you hear John Oliver's voice.
Oh, as Zazu.
As Zazu. And
the cast is incredible.
It's so good. Zazu.
Beyonce, Donald Glover, everyone in there.
And here's something else that struck me. Well, I kind of like the idea that they've got a lot of, not just, Mufasa, but there's a lot of black actors playing these roles. And it feels right because, you're in Africa, kind of like representation. It didn't even strike me until I was watching this trailer, but I'm like, it's kind of cool that they've got this. And I can't wait to see. I mean, isn't Idris Elba playing Scar?
No, it's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, that's right. It's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
It's Chiwetel Ejiofor. And I got to tell you what, see, one of my fears going into it, because you've heard me say sorry guys, I have no voice. One of the things that worried me going into this was much like the thing I was worried about going into Aladdin stuff, which is you need Will Smith to do the spirit of what Robin Williams did, but don't try to do Robin Williams impersonation, right?
Right.
Going into the original J.J. Abrams Star Trek, I said, hey, Chris Pine, try to capture some of the swagger of Kirk. Don't try to do a William Shatner impersonation.
Right, which he didn't.
Which he didn't. And going into this, I remember thinking, okay, James Earl Jones, you be you. But Chiwetel Ejiofor, do the spirit of Scar. Don't try to do Jeremy Irons.
Right.
And I got that exactly. He did his own Scar that felt menacing and sinister without doing the classic bad guy, I'm the villain voice. Like, he didn't do that, and I just loved the look of Scar. I thought Scar looked and sounded great.
Chiwetel Ejiofor is a favorite of mine all the way back to he was the villain in Serenity.
That's where I discovered him. He was one of the best on-screen villains ever in that. He was the operative.
So good. So good. And of course, he was great in 12 Years a Slave. And he was great in Love Actually.
He's great in everything. He's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
But
and plus,
he was even in this horrible. We all know how to say his name correctly. It's good.
Yeah, he was even in this horrible movie called Red Belt. And even in that, I thought he was awesome.
Never heard of it.
But it's good that you haven't heard of it.
I almost wish they did Aladdin like this now. I'm like, I feel like if they did the remake of Aladdin like this, maybe I'd be more into it, but we'll see.
The challenge for that is that when you're doing animals, it's one thing to do animals all CGI. There's the less of that uncanny valley. If you're trying to do that with CGI human beings.
That's true. I think I was just thinking specifically of Genie, and that was it. And like Abu.
So Rob, I'm going to take my, I cannot, I don't know if you can tell, I'm literally bouncing in my seat here. I'm literally bouncing in my seat. I am so happy about this. But anyway, Rob, well, both of you guys, like, you see this trailer now. What are we expecting next? Like, because one of the interesting things here is we still have not heard Donald Glover or Beyonce. We haven't heard either. And we've heard Scar, we've heard Mufasa, and we've heard Zazu, but although not in this trailer. But when do you think we're going to hear these guys, and how important do you think it is that they do that soon?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think we have to hear them. Like, you got my money.
Yeah.
I think look, I trust in Favreau. Favreau started out, he was an actor and a writer. I think he's a real actor's director. I think, he probably handpicked, well, aside from like James Earl Jones, but I'm sure he handpicked these actors and probably spent a long time working with them to get the performances that he wanted. And I'm sure, I mean, I couldn't take my heart being melted even more. If I heard Simba talking, I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I might not be here. I might have gone into some kind of an insulin shock because I'm not diabetic, so I didn't have insulin. I'd be on the floor like shaking or whatever happens to you when you go into a diabetic seizure. That's where I would have been if I heard Simba's voice this morning. So perhaps You can only take so much greatness in one trailer. But yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, I'm pretty convinced.
I think they're doing it right too. I think that the world would have exploded if they heard Beyonce already in that first trailer. I think that just coming out in little bits, it's probably better for everyone to handle. The excitement's already there.
I can't wait. Okay,
without her,
I'm going to do something I shouldn't do. I'm going to do something I shouldn't do right now, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to walk with Elias? Okay, no. Here's the thing. I got an email this morning. From a young kid named Jasper, who asked me, John, I'm so excited for this trailer. I don't know why he asked me to do this, but he said, can you sing Circle Life on your show this morning? And I have no idea why he asked me to do this, but Jasper is 12, said it was the first movie he saw with his mom, much like Star Wars, the first movie I saw with my mom. So ladies and gentlemen, everywhere around the world, get ready, sing along with me. I've never played this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. But Jasper, this is for you. From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking step into the sun, there's more to see that can never be seen, more to do than has ever been done. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than has ever been found. But with the sun rolling high on the sapphire sky, each great and small in the endless round, it's a circle of life. Yeah! Okay, that's enough. I'm going to die if I keep trying to do that. My voice is going to.
I think you just secured a Webby this year.
I think I just reserved
myself.
I think I just reserved my spot in the emergency room later. Anyway, there you go, Jasper. I hope that makes you happy. As happy as this damn thing makes me.
Happy.
That's how happy this trailer makes me, everybody. Fuck yeah. Circle of life. Okay. Anyway,
Jasper's mom
I'm a little
pissed.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Mom doesn't like that to Jasper.
Sorry, Jasper's mom. I'm so excited. This trailer makes me so happy. I'm just happy. I don't care. I'm just so happy. Okay, anyway, I could go out and talk about this stupid trailer all day, but
dude, Bob Iger's texting me. He thought that was great. He says, man, that Campea is one talented dude.
It's funny. I just got an email from Elton John demanding a royalty check from me. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But okay, with that stuff down and out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sound like this the rest of the show now. Let's move on to our main topics. How do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? It's really rather simple. You see, you guys select our main topics by sending in your topics and questions to us by going to the website, www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Fill out that form, hit submit, send it on in, and then maybe you will see your topic or question as one of our main topics here on the John Campea Show. So with that down and out of the way, Ashley, what is our first main topic today?
First one up is from Lawrence Coffee. I know the Russos did things before they started directing Marvel movies, but I just have a hard time imagining them doing anything other than MCU films. Anyway, did you see the story about how the Russos just partnered up with MGM to oversee, produce, and even direct some of the remakes from MGM's massive library of films? Does this sort of end the relationship between the Russo brothers and Disney at this point? Is this a good move for them right now? What do you think?
All right, so for those of you who aren't really sure what he's talking about, a news story came out that kind of revealed about, what's going on with the future of the Russo brothers. We already know that they were going to be working on a movie with Tom, I almost said Tom Hiddleston. Who's Spider-Man? Tom Holland. It says Tom H. I had the right letters, Tom H. They're doing that, but now we also know one of the big next major projects is they're going to be working with MGM specifically to do reboots of their existing library and IP, and they've already got one lined up. Now, here's what it actually said in the news report. This comes from Deadline. It says, MGM has made an inventive deal with Agbo Films, partners Joe and Anthony Russo, that's the Russo brothers company, that will see the Avengers Endgame helmers essentially become the spiritual creative architects of some of the iconic properties in the MGM library. They've made a multi-film, non-exclusive, we'll talk about that in a second, non-exclusive creative partnership to co-develop, co-produce, co-finance a slate of projects. The deal can extend to other projects originated by Agbo, but the driving force behind this is that they will creatively steer the refurbishment of the classic library titles. The first film projects to be produced through the partnership includes a reimagining of the Thomas Crown Affair, which long has had Michael B. Jordan attached to direct. So one of the things that we see here is that this is a non-exclusive deal. That means, which really most of the deals in Hollywood are non-exclusive, but it basically means that the Russo brothers, while they're going to be very busy working on these MGM properties, there's even words that they may direct this Thomas Crown Affair thing. They're going to be co-financing it, so they're going to be partly paying for it, producing it, all this kind of stuff, giving oversight to these projects. And I'm really excited about a Michael B. Jordan-led Thomas Crown Affair, by the way. But the key phrase in there, going to your question, is that it's non-exclusive. If the Russo brothers decide they want to direct, say, another film for, I don't know, the MCU, they can. I don't know how they'd have the time to do that, but they can be involved as producers and things in other things as well. So they can have their, their hands in other honeypots, if you will, at the same time that all this stuff is going on. I think this sounds really interesting. Rob, is this a good move for the Russo brothers at this point for their evolution as filmmakers? And do you think maybe this marks the end of them doing comic book films right now?
Well, first of all, I've said this also about Kevin Feige and everybody at the MCU. Once you've done Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, where do you go? Filmmakers are artists. Everybody wants a new challenge. And I am sure that MGM, this is not just a small deal. This is a big deal where MGM is having them. They probably backed up a truckload of money. I don't know whose idea was it, but it's pretty innovative to go into. MGM has an incredibly deep, very exciting library. I mean, I think it's interesting they mentioned the Thomas Crown Affair, which was remade by, of course, John McTiernan, diehard director John McTiernan, with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo, and I thought terrifically. And I think this is a huge opportunity for them. And like you said, it's non-exclusive. And who wants to make, after you've made 4 of arguably the greatest comic book films of all time, where do you go after Endgame? It's kind of like, Once More with Feeling in Buffy. Where do we go from here? I can sing too. And
grab your guitar.
I think it's a great move for them. It gives them a huge creative playground to move into. They can shepherd new filmmakers. They can do what Kevin Feige did for them. Now they've got literally an entire studio to play with, the studio's back catalog. They can bring out new filmmakers. They can work with Michael B. Jordan, who obviously did such a great job in the MCU and in movies like Creed. I mean, he's an incredibly electrifying new performer and a great screen presence that I've loved since Friday Night Lights. It's all good for them, and I think if they want to come back to the MCU, they can. But I don't know, where do you go after what they've done? I'm like, man, I want to go make a movie like set in the real world. The Thomas Crown Affair is a romp about an art thief. Bring it on. I want to go shoot in Europe and drink champagne at lunch and work French hours. It'll be great. So, yeah, I mean, get the hell out of the humidity of Atlanta. See the world.
Yeah, I honestly think, well, I don't think this marks the end of them working with Disney, and maybe not even marks the end of them working with Marvel. I think Endgame is going to be the last movie you see the Russo brothers direct for Marvel, because if they're expanding their business and they're expanding their empire this much, they ain't going to have time to take a full, because when you're directing a film, you don't have time for anything else. Like you are working on a single film for probably 3 years, and it is your day in, day out obsession. And if they're going to try to do a whole bunch of different things and be producers of all these things and giving creative direction, all this stuff, I think you're going to see the Russos as producers on other MCU films. I actually don't think we're going to see them directing another one now that their career's taken off. Do you think that's accurate, or do you think that's not true?
I think you could very well be correct. Because look, filmmakers are like anybody else. I mean, sure, we love movies. We want to see more of these kinds of films, but they've made 4. 4. That's a lot. I mean, to think about how long of their lives, if you think about how long a career is directing, we have some directors that work for quite a long time. Alfred Hitchcock made 53 feature films over the course of his lifetime. But a lot of film directors don't have that many options, and you want to build up an oeuvre of work. Stanley Kubrick, my favorite director, worked in many different genres, and he never made I think a move that wasn't well considered, and it took him a long time to make each film. But the Russo brothers have a unique, they've got the one thing that you can't get in Hollywood. That is consistent hits, consistent box office. Some of the biggest, there's only one other movie that made more money, or maybe two other movies, Titanic and Avatar. But if Endgame, Endgame could take Avatar, you never know. But what do you do after that? I don't think after making Infinity War and Endgame, why go back to superhero movies? I mean, I would think that let's branch out. I want to see the Russo brothers make a romantic comedy, like we talk about in this week's episode of Best Movie, Worst Movie.
Comedy is where they come from. They come from comedy. That's
absolutely right.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that down and out of the way, Ashley, what is our second major topic today?
Next one up today is from Tariq Mufasan. Hi, John and co. I was just reading that Sony is loading up to do a Cinderella movie with Camila Cabello in the lead role. So besides the obvious question of why would you get a non-actress to be the lead in a major film, I also have to ask, isn't Cinderella a Disney property? How is Sony even allowed to make a Cinderella movie in the first place? Thanks.
Okay, I got to tell you right now, I'm going to admit something. Going to admit something right here. It's going to make me look stupid. That's fine. I'm not afraid to look stupid. I had no idea who the hell Camila Cabello was. Yeah, once I mentioned that to Anne last night, she goes, Havana. I'm like, oh, she's the one who sings that. Okay, actually, that's a cool song. I like that song. I never heard of her at all in the world. All right, whole bunch of questions in there. Good questions. Let's start breaking them down. Why would you go out and get a non-actress for a lead role in the movie? One of the biggest idiotic things I've ever that the movie business does is sometimes they go out and get people who have no business being the lead roles in movies and doing that. However, what there is a little bit of asterisk to this is that in the stories that we're reading about this, it sounds like this is full-on musical. And if a lot of the quote-unquote dialogue of this movie is going to be sung, then it becomes an extenuating circumstance that maybe I can see the logic behind it at that point, right? Like, for instance, Taylor Swift is going to be in Cats. It's a full-blown musical. Getting somebody who's an established singer and a performer like Taylor Swift, well, then that makes more sense. Do I want her, being the lead role in The Taming of the Shrew? No. But could I see her in something like that? Yeah, maybe. And depending on the concept here, this could make perfect sense. So let's lay a little bit of the groundwork. Here's the actual story of what Variety is telling us from all this. Singer-songwriter Camila Cabello will star in writer-director Kay Cannon's retelling of Cinderella for Sony Pictures. Cabello will be involved in the music for the project, which grew out of an original idea from James Corden. The film will be produced by Corden and Leo Pearlman through their Fullwell 73 banner. The new Cinderella will be a music-oriented version of the traditional tale of the orphaned girl with an evil stepmother. Sony is putting the project on the fast track for production. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of an idea about why would they get Cabello for it. Well, if it's really going to be totally music-oriented, then I can kind of see the logic at that point. The other interesting question that they bring up in the email, though, Robert, is, wait a minute, time out. Cinderella? Ain't that Disney? How is Sony able to do Cinderella? Here's the basic Coles notes on that. And every situation is unique, but it's basically this. Disney does not own Cinderella. Cinderella, technically speaking, is public domain. The basic story of Cinderella is public domain. Anybody can make a Cinderella movie. You, today, can go out, pick up a video camera, get some friends together, and start making your own Cinderella movie. Here's the catch. What you cannot do is use any material from Cinderella. And we lost Rob again. This happens to Rob all the time. I don't know why. What you cannot do is get Cinderella and do things with Cinderella that were done in the Disney incarnations. Okay, here's an example, okay? Do you remember a couple years ago, James Franco did that Oz the Great and Powerful movie? You remember that? Well, it was being done with a studio that didn't do the original Wizard of Oz, but it was all based on the book, right? The original book of Wizard of Oz from, decades and decades and decades and decades ago. So what James Franco and company were allowed to use was anything that was in the original book and anything new that they themselves wanted to bring to the table. Anything that was in the original book and anything that they themselves originated or brought up or created themselves That they could use in the movie. What they could not use is new things that the movie Wizard of Oz introduced. Because there were a few things in the movie Wizard of Oz that wasn't in the original book. Those things James Franco could not use. Those things James Franco could not take advantage of, and James Franco's company could not use at all. So in this case, what they can do is making this movie with Sony, the Cinderella movie with Sony, they have the ability to use anything that's in the original Cinderella story, but nothing that was original to the Disney animated movie. And then they can add all their own stuff as well. Now, what stuff Disney created in their animated version, I don't know. So I don't know what stuff is going to be off limits to Sony, but whatever it is, they're still going to be allowed to do their own version of it as long as they don't use that original stuff. What do I think about them doing a Cinderella movie? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, Disney just did a live action version with Lily James. Lily James. They just did a live action version with Lily James just a couple of years ago. That was fantastic. Should you really be making another version now? I don't know. I feel iffy about it. I'll be honest with you. I feel iffy about that, and I'm not sure it's something they should do or not. But hey, if it's a full musical idea, I'm entertained by James Corden. I think he's a really entertaining guy. Let's see what kind of an idea they have, and we'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now. All right. Hey, guys, listen, it looks like technology is wonderful. My voice is failing, but also we lost Ashley and Robert. They both... we've lost them both, so I don't know if we've got a technical issue that dropped them all out. So we're going to see if they're able to jump back on just a little bit, but we're going to keep moving forward now without them as we move on to our third main topic today. And our third main topic today comes to us from Sharon V, who writes, or Sharon the Fifth. I don't know if that's Sharon V or Sharon the Fifth, whatever. All my girlfriends and I watch the original Grease together every year. Obviously, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. That said, you'd think I'd be excited about the story going around that they're going to be making a prequel called Summer Loving based on the romance Danny and Sandy had prior to the start of Grease. Point is, I'm not excited, and I'm not sure why. This doesn't feel like a good idea to me. Do you guys think this could work? Should I be more optimistic? All right, thanks a lot for the question. Appreciate that. And yes, we have a brand new Grease movie coming, ladies and gentlemen. Paramount has had the idea that they're going to do... Now, for those who are familiar with the classic film Grease, it's about John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John. They're in school, and you find out that the previous summer, they had a little bit of a romance at some summer camp or something like that. And hence, they come with the song Summer Lovin'. That's in Grease. Paramount's had the idea now to do a prequel to Grease based on that song, based entirely on that song. Now, I'll be straight up with you. I don't like this idea either. First of all, I could see remaking Grease. I'd be perfectly fine with a remake of Grease. Grease is a classic movie to a lot of people. You mentioned that you and your girlfriends get together. I remember an old girlfriend of mine used to do the exact same thing. An old girlfriend of mine used to get together. It wasn't like an annual thing every year, but every once in a while, her and her friends would get together, order tons of food, and just watch Grease. Kind of like me and some friends will just get together, play Risk, order pizza, and watch Star Wars. They got together and watched Grease. It is certainly a popular IP. So I could see remaking it. But a prequel of a movie that's, 40 years old? I'm not even sure how old Grease is. A prequel to a movie that's 40 years old that hasn't had a modern incarnation in a while. I'll be honest with you, I don't see the appeal. I don't see the appeal. Now, I'm not sitting here saying this is a movie that absolutely cannot work. I'm not going to sit here and say this is something that absolutely cannot work. Sure, it can. It's got the possibilities, but it just doesn't seem like a smart idea to me. Again, this is one of those situations where I would almost be more okay with the idea of a remake. That was a cross between remake and reboot, a remake. I'm okay with the idea of a remake of it. I see if you can reintroduce this story of Grease to a new audience and all that kind of stuff. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. That sounds great. A prequel on a movie that old? I don't see it. And here's what's going to kill it, is I don't see there being a lot of audiences getting excited for this, even the existing Grease fan base. And that's the killer right there. Not only do I think you're not going to get anybody who's not already a greasehead into this, I don't think this is going to appeal to a lot of the existing fan base. I just don't think it's going to happen. So for me right now, it's a bad idea. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a good idea, bad idea? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, with that down, let's move on to the fourth main topic today. And the fourth main topic today comes to us from David Perkins, who writes, Kevin Feige recently said in an interview that Endgame's 182-minute runtime is the least interesting thing about the movie. That's interesting to say. Getting more press than it should. He also said not to hold our collective breath on the X-Men appearing in Phase 4, which currently has a 5-year plan, which matches the length of Phase 1 if it goes as currently planned. Your thoughts? Okay, for those of you who don't know what David is talking about, Kevin Feige, the high guru of all things MCU, this has been a discussion and a debate that's been going on for a while, and I think Kevin Feige finally just put this thing to rest for us, okay? I have had so many people writing to me all the time. John, I'll bet you $1,000 that Wolverine makes a cameo in X-Men Endgame, or in X-Men Endgame, in Avengers Endgame. John, the end credit scene is absolutely going to have Fantastic Four. John, they're definitely going to introduce, so-and-so X-Men characters. And what I have been saying forever is, guys, here's the problem. They made this movie and planned this movie out ages ago. They couldn't even think legally. They couldn't even think about X-Men and Fantastic Four until the deal officially closed like a week or 2 weeks ago. And this movie's already wrapped and done. You're not going to see Fantastic Four characters. You're not going to see X-Men characters in this movie. And it's going to be a while until we do. And even Robert is still kind of believing we're going to see Galactus in the post-credit scene. Anyway, Kevin Feige seems to have put all of that to rest when he was being interviewed talking about Endgame and the possibility of X-Men and Fantastic Four coming in during Endgame or coming anytime soon. And this is what Kevin Feige said. Feige said the following: "It'll be a while. It's all just the beginning, and the 5-year plan that we've been working on, we were working on before any of that was set. So really, it's much more for us, less about specifics of when and where the X-Men will appear right now, and more just the comfort factor of how nice it is that they're home. They'll all be back, but it will be a very long time." Let's read that whole thing again here and break this down. When are X-Men and Fantastic Four going to pop up in an MCU film? It'll be a while. It's all just beginning, and the 5-year plan that we've been working on. So Kevin Feige is saying we've got this 5-year plan for what happens after Endgame. We are planned up to 5 years in advance before the Fox deal ever happened. All right? It'll be a while. It's all just the beginning, and the 5-year plan that we've been working on, we were working on before any of that was set. So really, it's much more for us, less about specifics of when and where the X-Men will appear right now, and more just the comfort factor of how nice it is that they're home. So what Kevin Feige is saying, we're not even worried about when we introduce the X-Men and when we introduce the Fantastic Four. Right now, for us, it's just, yay, they're back. Yay, we've got them under our tent again. Yay, they're home. It's good to know that we've got them there. We can start thinking about how we're going to do things. But right now, Kevin Feige says, we're not even thinking about that. We're focused on our 5-year plan. Then he finishes off saying, but it will be a very long time. Now, there are going to be some MCU fans that are disappointed to hear Kevin Feige say that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am thrilled to hear Kevin Feige say this. Absolutely thrilled. And the reason I am thrilled to hear Kevin Feige say this is because one of the things I've been telling you guys for a long time is, Kevin Feige has built this MCU by taking his time, by planning everything out, by being meticulous to the details, and laying foundational work and being very, very patient. That's how we've gotten the MCU. That's how we've gotten to this 10-year mark in the MCU with Endgame coming out and everybody excited because Kevin Feige is patient. And he does things at the right time and in the right way. They've had Black Panther forever. Did they go, quick, let's make a Black Panther movie right now 7 years ago? No, because it wasn't time. They wanted to build and develop. And when it was the right time for Black Panther, that's when they brought in Black Panther. They've had the rights to Captain Marvel forever. In, 2011, they go, quick, we got to make a Captain Marvel movie right now because we have the rights to Captain Marvel, so let's make a Captain Marvel movie right now. No, because that wasn't the right time. They did things at the right time, at the right place, planned it out meticulously and very, very carefully. That is why the MCU has been so successful. That's why Kevin Feige has been so successful. That's why we have this movie cinematic universe that we all love so much. And it has confused me. I'll be honest with you, my brothers and sisters in film fandom. It's confused me a little bit that some of us have been wanting Kevin Feige to take everything that has made him and the MCU so successful and wanting him to throw that all out the window and quick, do X-Men right now. Quick, bring in Wolverine right now. Quick, bring in the Fantastic Four right now. Quick, on the Avengers Tower, make it the new Fantastic Four building. Quick, show Galactus in the post-credits. Quick, do it now. It's confused me. Pardon me. I shouldn't get all worked up. It's confused me why we as Marvel fans and as comic book movie fans have suddenly wanted Kevin Feige to throw away everything that's made him successful and just suddenly become reactionary. Ooh, we've got X-Men now? Quick, let's change our plans and put in X-Men. Ooh, we've got Fantastic Four now? Throw away all of our ideas. Let's not lay any groundwork. Let's just put in Fantastic Four now. Like, why we have kind of felt this urge to have him become a completely reactionary filmmaker instead of the cold, calculated, brilliant strategist filmmaker that he has been, laying out the MCU the way that he has. So I know there are going to be some people disappointed to hear Kevin Feige say that, but to me, this is the best news that we can give us because it assures us that, number one, Kevin Feige is the smartest guy in the room. He knows not to become reactionary. He knows, oh, we've got the X-Men now. Great. We have them forever. We don't have to rush something into production. We don't have to bring in Magneto right now. We don't have to do that because they're ours forever. We can make our first X-Men movie in 3 years and we're fine. We can make the first X-Men movie under our banner. We can do that in 5 years and we're fine. There's no need to rush and there's no need to scrap the plans we've been planning so long and putting together post Endgame. Now, do I think we're not going to get a hint of either X-Men or Fantastic Four until 5 years after Endgame? Do I think we're not going to get any X-Men or any Fantastic Four until after this full 5-year plan is completed? No, I think we'll get something within that 5 years, but that gives Kevin Feige years now to prepare for it. He can smooth some things around that are 3 or 4 or 5 years down the line. He doesn't necessarily have to wait until all those plans are done. But for me as a fan, it's just very reassuring to hear that he's not going to rush into doing something all, to use the term willy-nilly and all half-cocked and just reactionary and stuff like that. We've seen other filmmakers do things reactionary. We've seen other comic book franchises try to operate reactionary. And we've seen how that's turned out. So I, for one, am totally glad to hear Kevin Feige said it's not going to be for a while, because that means they're going to take their time. They're going to do it right. And while I've always wanted X-Men to stay in a separate cinematic universe, I think it means that when we do get X-Men in the MCU, it's going to be the best version they can give us, because they're not going to rush it. They're going to be patient. They're going to do it the Kevin Feige way. And to me, that's nothing but good news. Okay, with that down and out of the way, let's move on to our final main topic today before we go on to our live questions. And our final main topic today comes to us from our friend. Who does this one come from? This one comes to us from, I'm lost it there. There it is, Texas Cobra. And Texas Cobra writes, "Hey y'all, love this show. Thank you so much, Texas. I've never watched Game of Thrones, but I understand the basics through pop culture osmosis." I love the way you wrote that. The basics through pop culture osmosis. That's fabulous. Anyway, I know the basics through pop culture osmosis. Could someone like me watch the final season without watching the series from the beginning? Stay filthy. All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yes, it's unbelievable to think about, but Game of Thrones comes back this Sunday. Seriously, how crazy is that? Wrap your head around that. Game of Thrones, for all the time that we've been waiting for this final season, only 6 episodes. I hesitate to call it a season, but anyway, 6 episodes. It's back this Sunday. Now, much like A lot of people were asking as we were going into Infinity War last year, John, I've never really been on board with the MCU. What do I need to watch? Do I need to watch other movies first before watching Infinity War? We got a lot of people now saying, okay, look, I've never jumped on board this big Game of Thrones train. I've never been wrapped up in Game of Thrones, but hey, all this buzz has gotten me excited. Can I just jump in and watch season 8 without watching any of the other stuff? Let me say two things. Number one, it's impossible to say for sure because we haven't seen season 8 yet. So having not seen season 8, pardon me as I pour more tea for myself, having not seen season 8, it's very difficult for me or for anybody to say definitively, oh yeah, you can watch this without having seen the other seasons, because I simply don't know. I haven't seen this season to be able to say that definitively. But here's what I suspect. Shows like Game of Thrones and others have done a really good job over the last number of years catching audiences up. You know, they've done a really good job of catching the audience up to speed, whether it's through their previously on Supernatural or whatever it is. They get you caught up to speed pretty well. I have jumped in on some shows during season 3, season 4, season 5 of certain shows. I've jumped in on seasons like that, and I've found that while I definitely miss some of the nuances and some of the finer details because I didn't watch the previous seasons, I have found that I myself have been, the shows do a good job of catching me up to speed. After about a half hour, I feel like I got a general idea as to what's going on. So I would say this, if you have absolutely no time to try to get caught up a little bit with Game of Thrones, I think you're okay. I think you're okay to watch the final, just jump in and start watching the final season. Are you going to get everything? No. Do I think you'll get the basic idea though and be able to appreciate what you're watching? I think so, yes. I think so. Just because that's been my experience with previous shows. There's going to be some finer details you're going to miss out on. There's going to be some nuance that you miss out on. There's going to be some references you miss out on. That's fine. But if all you want to do is just get on board and kind of at least be able to follow along, I have a feeling they'll do it in such a way that you're able to do that. Because I've had that experience with other shows, and I think they're the type of storytellers that they have the skill to do that as well. So, look, the best option is to at least try to get back and binge the last 2 seasons. You know, if you just got a couple of days, these aren't 22 episode seasons. These are like 10 episode seasons, 8 episode seasons. I'd say just see if you can just binge the last 2 seasons, if you can. I think that would be best. Well, what would really be best is watching the entire thing. But you've got 3 days left. Just watch a couple seasons. But even if you can't, I personally think you're going to be okay just jumping in and watching the show as is. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you think somebody will be okay to jump in? Or do you say, no, it'll be a totally lost cause. You're never going to know what's going on if you're just trying to watch the show right away. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. Okay. With all that down and out of the way, guys, let's move on and take some live questions. You guys have been firing some live questions, so let's jump in there and start getting to those. The first one comes to us from James Argenta, who writes, fun fact, Clint Barton's daughter, that's Hawkeye, in Endgame is played by Joe Russo's daughter, Ava. I didn't realize that. That's interesting to know. And good, I mean, it's not like it's a heavy acting role, so why not? I like that. That's good to know. Thanks for putting that in there, James. Arturo Beltran writes, how come no one you probably meant no one. How come no one mentions Yondu death? Loki is gone. Well, I mean, Yondu, as much as I love Michael Rocker's is Yondu, and I think we all did. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. I love Yondu. But the reality is, Yondu never played as much of a part as Loki did. Loki was a main character in the first Thor. He was the main villain in Avengers, in the first Avengers movie. He played significant roles in the other Thor movies. He played significant, I mean, he just has had a lot more screen time and he's been a lot more relevant to the overall story. He also had a really cool character arc and he's a very complex, deep character, all that kind of stuff. Yondu is a fun character. But I think the point is that Yondu never had the opportunity to become as emotionally attached with the audience as, say, a Loki did. So I think that's probably the main reason. But Yondu is a great character. Vrinder Singh writes, One of two. Due to worsening health problems, it has been getting worse. It's been getting more and more difficult to sit through. I guess I can take my headphones off now. It's been getting more and more difficult to sit through longer films. It just gets too painful. Let's see if Rinder has another. There it is. And 2 of 2. Oh, by the way, this is very generous super chat, Rinder. Thank you so much for supporting the channel that way. Let's get back to your question here. I would suggest that when it comes to event movies such as Endgame, the theater chain should allocate at least one of their screens to play the film with an intermission and the rest of the screens as normal. This would be a great help. Vrinder, my friend, you are preaching to the choir, brother. You are preaching to the choir. Hallelujah and amen. I've been saying for a while now that I really believe that movie theaters should institute an intermission again for movies that are like, say, 3 hours or longer, or 2 hours and 50 minutes or longer. That's very rare. It's very rare. We do not often get movies that are this length, so it's rare. So it's not like we're asking them, hey, for a 90-minute comedy, put in an intermission. It would just help a lot of people. It would help a lot of people. And look, when you got people buying, I've gone on and on about this, but it bears repeating here. You have people, you're trying to get people to buy soda and drink drinks and stuff like that. And guess what? You drink a large soda, within 2 hours, it's going to go through you. You're going to need the bathroom. So now what you have is you have a theater where you're sitting there and you got people getting up and walking in front of you to go out to the bathroom, which is pretty distracting. And then they got to come back in, excuse me. Right? You got people doing that all over the theater. And you have to miss a couple of minutes of the movie because you got to get up and go to the bathroom. It just makes sense to institute a short intermission. And I completely reject, it's been proven that this excuse of, oh, if you take an intermission, it'll pull you out of the movie and it'll ruin the movie experience. No, it doesn't. It's been proven over and over and over again that it doesn't. The theater, like the live theater, they always take intermissions. Does it, oh, I can't enjoy Hamilton now because they took an intermission and my brain can't handle pausing for a second. It pulls me out of the story and out of the nuance of the presentation. No, it doesn't. It's been proven. Oh, can we just stop with that? It's been proven over and over and over again. You watch a movie at home, phone rings, you pause the movie, you answer the phone. Great, now we get back to the movie and you're fine. You know? In a football game, do people go, no, don't take halftime. Halftime, that breaks up the game. It pulls me out of the spirit of the game. I can't appreciate the game if you take a halftime. No, and listen, and other countries still have intermissions in their movies. And they look at us and go, there's no problem with having an intermission. It's actually really good. And again, I'm not saying that I think they should do this for every movie. Not at all. But to me, there is no drawback. It is nothing but benefit. Benefits for the theaters, benefits for the movies, benefits for the audience. For movies that are excessively long, like say 2 hours and 50 and longer, 2 hours and 55 and longer. Just for excessively long movies, plan a 7-minute intermission. It's good for the theaters. More people will buy concession stand stuff. It's good for the audience. It gives you a break. It'll mean less people pulling out their phones to check their phones because they know that there's going to be a part in the movie where they can go out and check their phones, no problem. It'll mean less people getting up and walking in front of you back and forth because you know there's a bathroom break coming up. And there are people, Vrinder, and I'm glad you brought up like health issues. There are people that simply can't do it for that long. And now you put them in a position where they have to miss a little bit of the movie because the movie is 3 hours and 10 minutes, however long your movie is. And I just think it makes perfect sense to do an intermission. Not everybody agrees. And there are some other points to bring up as well that counter that. And I acknowledge that, I do. But to me, at the end of the day, it is a great idea that helps a lot of people. It's good for the theaters. It's good for the fans. And I really think they should look at doing that. And I think Endgame is a great example of that. But anyway, Vrinder, you and I, my friend, are in the minority, unfortunately. But I do think it's something they should do. Anyway, Dimsum05 writes, suggestion, super chat etiquette clause in the description of each video. Copy and paste. Example, X actor, what if, top 5, etc. to help avoid super chat remorse. Maybe. I don't know if I want to put that. Let's face it. Most people, it's a good idea, Dim Sum, but here's the thing. The reality is 99% of people do not read a video's description. They look at the title and click play. I'm one of those people that actually does read the full description of a video, but I think a lot of people don't, so I don't know if it would help, but you're thinking along the right ways. I should try to come up with something like that. Benny95 writes, it's official, Lucifer Season 4, May 8th, I heard about this. As if this day couldn't get any better. We've got the Lion King trailer. We've got a release date for Lucifer. May 8th, less than a month away, and Lucifer comes back. Might be my favorite show currently on television. Might be my favorite show. That includes Supernatural. That includes Game of Thrones. Yeah, I said it. I like Lucifer even more than Game of Thrones. I really like Lucifer, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's going to take a soundbite of that, say, John worships the Antichrist. They're just going to play that gif of me over and over again. I really like Lucifer. I really like Lucifer. But I do, man. I love Lucifer. That show's so damn good. I cannot wait. Let's see here. Cody Carroll writes, went to a Cinemark years ago and saw a commercial for an AMC show called AMC Movie Talk. That commercial changed my movie life forever. Love the show. Thanks so much. I still remember that. I still remember. It was right near the end of our run as well. We were just starting to peak. Because, I mean, at first when we started, when I started everything at AMC, it was just me. Always had this vision that we'd build something, but a lot of AMC, a lot of the company didn't even get what we were there for. You know, it was only our social media department at AMC that really understood the vision and the philosophy. And I attribute a lot of that to the guy who hired me. His name was Justin. He's the guy who hired me and recruited me to come and join, to come and join AMC. And we had this vision for what we're doing. And slowly, as we started to gain more and more success, the rest of the company started to recognize it. The rest of AMC started to recognize, oh my gosh, big things are happening and blah, blah, blah. And then we won some awards. Anyway, so finally somebody in AMC said, you know what? We should be promoting this in our theaters. Really? So finally somebody at AMC said, we should be promoting this in our theaters. And so they started running prior to the showtime. So like if the movie was at 7 o'clock, or said it was at 7 o'clock, they would put us on at like 6:55, something like that. So it was prior to showtime. During the big commercial package on screens, they would show AMC Movie Talk ads. Now, this only ran for a short time, but this is when we were starting to gain momentum, and then everything went south at AMC. Thank you so much, AMC Theaters HR department, you sack of useless idiots. Anyway, so, and that kind of led me, then they screwed over my boss, which pissed me off, and then I ultimately left as a result of that, and blah, blah, and it all fell apart, and it's really too bad, too, because everything was really rolling. So I'm really glad that you remember that, Cody, because that was a pretty awesome moment for us. When we started seeing our ads playing on AMC screens, it was pretty cool. So thanks for that, man. I appreciate that. Memory lane. Okay, New Ulysses Smith writes, that Lion King trailer, wow. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm going to be bouncing off the walls all day. I'm going to be bouncing off the walls and watching that trailer over and over and over again all day because it was something special. Anyway, Ben Heyusa writes, I already asked this question that got put in a companion video, but wanted your thoughts on some WWE fan attacking Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame ceremony, and he got beat and tossed out by other wrestlers. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what Ben's talking about, every year at WrestleMania, the day before WrestleMania, they have this big ceremony that's a big deal to them. It's the annual Hall of Fame induction. And this year, the best there is, the best there was, the best there's ever going to be, Bret the Hitman Hart was inducted into the Hall of Fame, along with Honky Tonk Man, Harlem Heat. I think it was Tori Wilson got in this. Anyway, so a bunch of people. And during Bret Hart's speech, some idiot fan ran into the ring from behind Bret Hart and tackled him. Now, a bunch of big wrestlers got in, beat the hell out of that guy and threw him out of the ring. It was really unfortunate to see. It's really sad that some idiot can ruin things like that, because you know what's going to happen? It's because of idiots like this that separate fans from talent more. Because, you had a chance at something like this event that fans could get that close to the talent. Yay! Now that this idiot did this, Next year's going to be totally different. There's going to be barricades and everything, and people aren't going to be able to get close to the talent, and it sucks that the actions of some stupid person ruins it for the rest of us. And it's really unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Okay. The new Ulysses writes, if everyone thinks they could have made this Lion King look any better, they just don't know nothing. I didn't think it could capture what the animation did. Dude, I mean, it's flawless. There are people going around asking, how did they get the lions to behave that way? How did they get the lions to do that? They ain't lions. It's all animated. It's crazy. And you're right. Anybody who thinks, I've seen some people go, oh, I didn't like the way this looks. I'm like, okay, then you and I are on completely different planes of existence, because as far as the way it looks, oh my God, it looks so good. It looks so good. I just can't wait for this movie. Look, the trailer just dropped today, so obviously my emotions are a little bit out of whack. But if you were to say to me right now, John, you can either this afternoon watch Avengers Endgame, watch Star Wars Episode 9, or watch Lion King. Right now, I'm taking Lion King. Now, understand, I think part of that is just the emotion of the fact that I just saw the trailer today. I probably will answer that question differently tomorrow. But right now, honest to God, if you were to say, John, this afternoon you can come over to the Disney lot and you can sit down for a private screening of Endgame, Lion King, or Star Wars Episode 9, I'm probably watching Lion King right now. That's how kind of giddy I am about this damn thing. All right, Willow Yang writes, I'm amazed. How did they train all those lions and other animals to act and not attack and kill each other on set? Obviously, Willow is being sarcastic. But you'd laugh, Willow. I've actually seen people asking, like, they know they didn't train. Nobody thought that the lions were actually speaking. But they thought, there are a lot of people who just thought, no, those were actual just lions. And then they might have done a little bit of animation on the mouth. No. It's all animated. Watch the trailer again, understanding everything you're seeing is animated. Mind blown. It's absolutely crazy. Rory Brown writes, I legit got teary-eyed watching the Lion King trailer. Me too, brother. Me too. It was like, guys, I really hope they do release that full clip that they showed us at CinemaCon, because everybody in that theater was an emotional mess. I really hope they release that to everybody. Ben Huser writes, that Lion King trailer though, oh my God, dude, I said that over and over again. I completely floored by it. I want to finish up this show so I can just spend the rest of the day watching that trailer on rerun. Dan Ketchum writes, Avengers fail to unsnap everyone. Well, I mean, it really depends, Dan, because again, we don't know if they're going to undo the snap or if they're just going to change reality. It's hard to say. So we just got to go in and see what's going to happen. I don't know that they're going to undo the snap. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. New Ulysses writes, this year is like reliving my childhood when it comes to movies. Aladdin, Toy Story, Lion King, and more. Could end up being one of the best years of movies. It's definitely going to be the biggest box office year ever for movies. Because on top of Aladdin and Toy Story and Lion King, you've got Frozen, which is a guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, but it's most likely going to be $1 billion film. You got Star Wars, which is going to be $1 billion film. You've got, many, many films. We could have $6 or $7 billion movies this year. We already have one. Captain Marvel's already in the books. We got Endgame coming. Just monsters. But besides box office, it could be a really, really special year. Could be a really special year, dude. Okay. Ninja Atrocity TV writes, yo, John, what's up, homie? I sent you an important message on Instagram. Please check your DM. All right, I will check those when I get a chance. Murray Reich writes, Avengers Endgame fans, cry time, Lion King fans, hold our beer. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it, Murray. That's pretty much it. Because I know there's cry time coming in Endgame. There's going to be so much cry time in Endgame. But just the trailers are giving me cry time for Lion King. And I'm not sitting here saying Lion King is going to be the better movie than Endgame, and I'm not saying Endgame is going to be the better movie than Lion King. These are two movies that it's almost unfair that we get to get both of these movies all within a couple of months of each other. But you're right. It's so much cry time for Lion King. Oh, my God. Biniam Gaming just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Bimian. McDavid deserves better. Yes, he does. I say that every time. I think the most unsung performance of the 2010s is Benedict Cumberbatch in The Imitation Game. Oh, he was great in that. He balances empathy and arrogance with a deft hand. Here's the thing. He got nominated, I think it was at the 2015 Academy Awards that he was nominated. And I thought he had a decent chance at winning. He wasn't a favorite or anything like that. Unfortunately for him, that was the year Eddie Redmayne was nominated for The Danish Girl. Ain't nobody that year was going to beat Eddie Redmayne from The Danish Girl. That was just another level kind of performance. But Benedict did get a Best Actor nomination for that. And maybe if it wasn't for Eddie Redmayne, maybe Benedict would have an Academy Award on his shelf right now. Because you're right, he was dumb good in that. Like, dumb good. He was so great in that. And that's the movie that really shows the potential of Benedict Cumberbatch as an overall performer. Absolutely. Murray Reich writes, spoiler alert, I saw Mufasa die on a Reddit post. I saw that Mufasa dies on a Reddit post. I know, right? Spoiler, Mufasa dies. We're going to see a lot of jokes on that going around, I think. Luke1234 writes, Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die. Don't know it. I'm stumped on that one. One in a million writes, that Lion King trailer, man, mind-blowing CG visuals. I know. It's just, look, especially as somebody... A lot of guys forget, I used to work in a visual effects company. I used to work in a CGI animation and visual effects company. So from that perspective, for me to sit down and look at something like Lion King, it's almost living in a fairy tale. Like, it just doesn't seem possible, this crap that they're doing now. It's crazy. The Fans writes, one of two. Theory, Endgame begins with heroes confront Thanos, who beats them all in a tough battle. Heroes retreat and try and doing the snap using the quantum realm. And then the Fans writes, 2 of 2, third act, Cap confronts arrogant Thanos again, but this time Cap yells, Avengers Assemble, revealing all heroes for final battle, man tears. Somebody brought that up the other day, the Fans. Somebody brought that exact scenario. Avengers go fight Thanos, but they lose and they retreat, and then they go back and fight him again yet later. Here's the problem I have with that. Why I hesitate a little bit buying into that theory is this. Do you think Captain America is going to retreat, believing that defeating Thanos is the only way to bring back saving half the world? If Captain America was on his last breath, he would stand up again to Thanos and go, I can do this all day. That's what he would do until he's dead. He wouldn't stop fighting. He wouldn't stop. He would keep going. And he would just keep saying, I can do this all day. And every time Thanos beats him down, he would get back up and say, I can do this all day. I just don't see how the Avengers go into a big epic battle with Thanos with the fate of half the life in the universe on the line, and they just leave while they're all still alive. I just don't know that I see it. It's very possible they could do it that way, but I just don't see Captain America under any circumstances saying, okay, let's get out of here. I just don't see him doing it. He'll stand toe-to-toe with Thanos and go, I can do this all day until he's dead. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So many questions we have, dudes. So many questions we have, and we're going to get them answered really soon. Okay. John the 1996 writes, Lucifer Season 4 coming May 8th. As if today couldn't get any better, Jonathan. As if today couldn't get any better. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, oh my God, can I just say how awesome Scar looks and sounds? Dude, I'm with you on that 100%. Also, that iconic shot of Timon, Simba, and Pumbaa walking together. And you can just hear it. Hakuna Matata. Like as they're walking across the logs and you see Simba getting older and older. It's like, all the feels, Razor's Edge, all the feels, dude. I got choked up too. Anthony R. writes, with all superhero overload, I nearly forgot that Star Wars Celebration is this week. Finally, Episode 9 trailer and title. Hopefully, also Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, that Jedi Fallen Order video game they're going to be debuting and showing us a bunch of stuff too. I'm intrigued by that, but obviously the big thing, this week we're going to get a title, and this week we're going to get our first teaser for Star Wars Episode 9. Is that a guarantee? No. But I have a hard time imagining that Lucasfilm would be so inept and so stupid as to have this Star Wars celebration and getting fans to fly in from all over the world for it and not show them the first trailer. That would be idiotic. And it's what they did with the last Star Wars celebration. The last Star Wars celebration in Orlando, they dropped the first trailer, got everybody pumped and excited. They're going to do the same this year. So yeah, amidst all this chaos, on top of it all, we're going to get our Star Wars title and we're going to get our Star Wars first trailer, and it's going to drop like a ton of bricks, and hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's half as good as this Lion King one was, Anthony. So yeah, thanks for reminding us. We got to keep our eye on that. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, man, I hope EA doesn't screw up Jedi Fallen Order. I just want a great single player Star Wars game. Dude, me too. Me too. I can go back and play, Old Republic if I want, but a really great standalone single player Star Wars game. It's one of the reasons why, I'll play Battlefield 2. But when I play for those of you who've watched me do play-in chats, when I play Battlefield 2, I just like playing arcade mode because I just like playing single player. I just like playing single player. And that's just how I like playing my games. Other than World of Warcraft, of course. But yeah, that's how I like to play it. So fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Alex Pitt writes, Lucifer Season 4, May 8th, less than a month away. Again, the joy is so abounding across the world, ladies and gentlemen. We're all talking about Lucifer. How good can this day get? We got Endgame coming, Lion King trailer drops. We're going to get a Star Wars trailer this week. Lucifer Season 4 is coming in less than a month. Game of Thrones less than Sunday. Dude, if you are a fan of storytelling and entertainment, this is one hell of a week. Oh my God. It's a good time to be a fan, my friends. It is a good time to be a fan. Anyway, so the fans, we already got to that. Benny95 writes, seeing Avengers Endgame on the 24th, nice, with the girlfriend, then the 25th with family, followed by 3rd with friends on Sunday. My friend bought every seat in gold class so we could have the whole theater to ourselves. What did that cost? Oh my God. And Benny, it sounds like you got a good weekend plan, dude. I am lucky enough that here's the thing. I'm going to see Avengers Endgame twice before opening day. I've already got it booked. I'm going to see Endgame twice before opening day. And I'm excited about those. I am. I'm very excited about them. But what I'm really excited about is opening night. That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about opening night with the movie fans, with the audiences pouring to the theaters, that energy, that excitement, that buzz, that chill that everybody's going to have, that electricity that's going to go through the theaters when the Marvel logo comes up and stuff like that, and everybody's going to want to burst out of their seat like a kernel of popcorn in some hot oil, man. Just pop, and we're going to go crazy. I got to be careful in my throat here, guys. I'm on a bit of a roll, but I'm going to do damage. Anyway, oh my God, that's what I'm looking forward to the most, man. And so that weekend for all of us is going to be great. Again, it comes up all the time, but I got to say it again, Benny, for your sake and for my sake, I hope this movie doesn't suck. I hope they stick the landing on this. I really do. I believe it's going to be great, but look, even Spielberg made a bad film, so I really hope it's good, dudes. Because there's a few things they could do in this movie that would really piss me off, and I'm just going to trust that they're not going to do that. Anyway, Jabin Carter writes, I want a subscription service that allows you to watch any new movie home release, or any new home release movie. Is this even legally possible? If so, would you want it, and how much would you pay per month? It's a great idea, Jabin. Here's the problem. So the notion of every time movie titles become available on home video to have some sort of subscription service, let's call it Home Watch. Okay, we just made it up. Let's say we create a company called Home Watch, where for $30 a month, you get every single new release, home video new release, and you can watch them all. So the moment that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse became available, you get to watch that because you're a member of Home Watch. And the moment Aquaman became available. You got to watch that. And the moment this became like a subscription service, you could do that is a great idea. Here's the problem. The problem is the growing segmentation of this stuff. See, what's going to happen is there's not going to be any one company like HomeWatch to do it because Paramount won't give their movies to HomeWatch to add to their service because Paramount's going to want to do their own. Just like, hey man, you used to have Netflix and Hulu, but now CBS has their own streaming. Disney has their own streaming. Warner Brothers has their own streaming. Universal's about to launch their own streaming. Blah, blah, blah. It all gets segmented. And what's going to happen is Paramount's going to go, whoo, a monthly subscription service where you get all the new release movies on home video? Great idea, but we're not going to give you our movies because we're going to do one ourselves. And then Universal will have their own. And then Disney will have their own. And then Warner Brothers will have their own. And then Paramount will have their own. And then Lionsgate will have their own. Then A24 will have their own. And on and on and on and on. It's a great idea. I would pay for it. I would pay $30 a month for that because that's a lot of entertainment. I would pay $30 a month for that, but it ain't going to happen because segmentation, the studios are just going to want to do it all themselves, unfortunately. But it's a great idea. Pardon me. Okay, Matsif Jada writes, are press junkets necessary for a movie to succeed? No, they just give you a boost. Press junkets give it a boost. They're not necessary to succeed. So here's the deal. Avengers Endgame is going to succeed whether or not it has a press junket. But the press junket and the boost it gets from that will just improve it even more. It'll improve the performance even more. It's not about whether it will make it succeed or fail. It's about it'll succeed. It'll just help it succeed a little bit more. Right? So they will help them succeed a little bit more, but they're not the only thing that determines whether it succeeds or not. So yeah, press junkets are good things for them. I got tired of them. I don't go to them anymore. I'm Upset writes, when do you think Sony and Marvel will renew the deal? I would be surprised if they haven't done it already. They may have renewed it already and we just don't know about it yet. Because the PR game is about timing. So yeah, I actually think they've probably extended it already. Once Venom made $800 million at the box office, to me, that's solidified that Sony's going to feel comfortable extending their deal with Marvel because they don't need to have Spider-Man in their universe for their movies to succeed. They just proved it. Everybody said, oh, Venom's going to fail because you don't have Spider-Man in it. Well, made $800 million. So they proved they don't need to have Spider-Man in their universe. They can have him in the Marvel universe and make money, and they can make their own movies without him in their own Sonyverse and make money. They get to make money on both sides of the coin. So I got a feeling the deal's already done. I don't know that. I'm just speculating as a fan. Anthony R. writes, imagine we lived in a reverse reality where Kevin Feige did the DCU instead of the MCU, and Robert Downey Jr. launched the universe with Green Arrow instead of Iron Man. Just how different would comic movies be now? It's impossible to say. It's impossible to say. Like, just because Kevin Feige did great things with the Marvel characters, does that automatically guarantee he would have done great things with the DC characters? Maybe even probably, but we don't know for sure. There are look, the things that go into success, Anthony, I know you know this, is that there are a million small pieces that go into making a success puzzle. When you've got a success puzzle, there are a million different pieces that went into it. And as you change scenarios like that, the puzzle pieces change shape, which inevitably means they're going to come together differently. Would Robert Downey Jr. have worked as Green Arrow? I don't know. I don't know. He's a good actor, so that's a good first step. But there was something about Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark. That was an almost flawless match. Would he have had the same resurgence that he had? Because remember, his career was done. His name was mud. His name was poison in Hollywood when they gave him a chance to play Tony Stark. Would he have been able to recapture that playing Oliver Queen? I don't know. Maybe he would have done it better. It's just so impossible to say how things would have. All we can say for sure, Anthony, is that it would have been different. Better different? Maybe. Worse different? Maybe. Kind of equal different? Possibly. But yeah, absolutely. When you start playing these games and we start changing the shapes of the puzzle pieces, we get different pictures. What it would look like, I guess we'll never know, but it's a fascinating idea. Dan Ketchum writes, hope Lucifer doesn't mind wipe Chloe. I'm okay with that they do. Look, so many characters, it's like superhero shows. Oh, Green Arrow has a secret identity. Yeah, that everybody in the show knows who he is. Flash has a secret identity, and every week a new person finds out who he is. So many people know who Lucifer is in Lucifer that I'd be okay if they mind wiped one character, but I do want to see where they go now that she knows. So it'd be interesting to see. Ben Rayner writes, just watched Ant-Man and the Wasp again. It's better than I remember. The Walton Goggins character was a waste, but everything else was really fun and enjoyable. I had a very good time with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I agree. Walton Goggins was wasted. It's really too bad. You got a performer like that. It's too bad that the character really wasn't exceptional. It didn't need a guy of his talent to play that role. It did feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity, to be honest with you. So that's too bad. And I prefer, quite frankly, I prefer the first Ant-Man, but I love the first Ant-Man. But yeah, the Ant-Man and the Wasp was really enjoyable. Very, very fun movie. I had a good time with it. Just not as good as the first Ant-Man, in my opinion. Luke1234 writes, would you rather have a Star Wars movie win every Oscar category in that year or Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup? Well, that's easy. Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup. That's no questions asked. Easy. Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup. Yeah. You have to understand something. Never in my lifetime, not as long as John Campea has been on the earth, have the Toronto Maple Leafs even been to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I'm Canadian. Hockey is in my DNA. I bleed blue and white. All right, you got it. Now, I don't talk a lot of hockey on here because I know a lot of you guys do not follow hockey, don't care about hockey. So when I do my sports analogies, I try to keep them to sports that more of you do follow. But believe me, hockey is in my DNA. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are in my DNA. That is the goal. The goal of the Star Wars movies is not to win Oscars. The goal of the Star Wars movies is to be culturally impactful, have the fans love them, make a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. The goal of a hockey team at the start of every year is win the Stanley Cup. That's the point. That's the goal. And never in my lifetime have they even been to the finals. It's crazy when you think about it. But maybe this is the year. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I would take the Leafs winning a Stanley Cup. Yeah, easy, no doubt, no questions asked. Just like the snap of Thanos' fingers, man. Benny95 writes, apologies, John, for the possible spoiler in my previous super chat. It wasn't intended. Oh, I believe that. The leaks are getting out of control. Keep up the great work. Yeah, so Benny, unfortunately, Benny had put in a super chat that I had to remove because, and I completely understand it was unintentional. Even the question itself revealed something that a lot of people wouldn't want to know. But it is crazy. It goes back to this whole thing we talked about, I think in one of the companion videos the other day, which was, there's a tough spot that toy companies and movie studios are in. You see, as a toy company, you're developing these toys for these movies. You're working with the studios, and you're developing these toys with the company for over a year before the movies come out. And then you need to get those toys on the shelves before the movies come out. There's a window that where optimally most toys sell, and it's you get them on the shelves before the movie hits. That's what the toy companies have to do, and the studios understand that. But what it means is, in the internet age, that some toys reveal things about an upcoming movie that maybe we as fans wouldn't want to know about. And then that gets around. I think, but it's a difficult position to ask the toy companies, hey, don't conduct your business. Don't put toys on the shelf, even though that's when the toys sell. Can't ask them to do that. The studios give the approval for that to happen, so that's intriguing. Really, it's the fault of everybody who then takes that information and spreads it around to everybody. Is it the toy company's fault, or is it the fault of people go, oh, look at this toy that gives away the spoiler. I can take all these pictures and put it on the internet for everybody to spread around, then everybody spreads it around. So it's something that I think the whole fan community has to work at together to get under control and bring it a little bit more in rein. But it is a tough spot, Benny. It's absolutely a tough spot. Ben Rayner writes, what movie do you think will have more cry time, Lion King or Endgame? I'm not ready for all the cry time. I think it's going to be Lion King. I mean, it's going to, when Hawkeye's family dies in his arms, cry time. When whatever hero dies in the MCU at the end, cry time. Whenever we see our favorite heroes returning from the dead, cry time. There's going to be so much cry time. Lion King? Dude, there were people in the theater in Las Vegas crying just seeing Mufasa and Simba walking up to the top of a rock. Just casually walking up to the top of a rock, and people like, oh, Simba. Like, it, stupid. Dude, when Mufasa dies in this movie, spoiler alert, but when Mufasa dies in this movie, I don't know, there's going to be a tissue shortage across the world for the amount of cry time going on in that. And dude, there's going to be bro crying, massive bro crying, when you get near the end of the film and Simba, now the full-grown Simba, walks to the top of Pride Rock as the new king and lets out his roar. Woo, bro cry. That's going to be bro cry. Bro cry. Yeah, tears of bro tears coming out. Like, it's going to, yeah, more cry time. Look, I don't know which of the two films are going to be better, but I do think Lion King will probably have more cry time. So much cry time is coming, ladies and gentlemen. So much cry time. Get ready for cry time. Cry time. Anyway, Herc08 writes, man, I am 29 and I need to be able to secure seats now for this movie. The casting is perfect and James Earl Jones just chills. I hope it's not a shot for shot. Disney, take all my money this year. Yeah, see, I'm torn. Part of me wants shot for shot. There's a part of me that wants shot for shot, but we already know we're not getting shot for shot. I mean, just in this trailer alone, we saw things and heard lines of dialogue that are not in the original movie. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that line of, while others seek what they can take, a true king seeks what they can give. That's a great line. I don't believe that line's in the original movie. Again, I could be wrong about that, but I don't believe that line is in the original movie. So there's a lot of things that we've already seen that kind of suggest that this will be a mix of classic shot for shot with a lot of differences thrown in there along the way. We already know there's going to be one or two original songs that weren't in the original animated movie that are going to be added, so it's not going to be a shot for shot thing for sure, but I'm not going to lie, I would have been okay with a shot for shot thing too at the same time. Static Space Sean writes, my Netflix list right now is Lincoln, Her, Room, Clockwork Orange, Wind River, District 9, and Indie Trilogy. Have seen most and don't remember others. Oh my God, dude, that's a nice lineup. Woo, that is a nice lineup. You're talking about Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis, the GOAT. Her is fantastic. Room got Brie Larson her Academy Award. Clockwork Orange is iconic. Wind River was a massively underappreciated film with Hawkeye in there. District 9 is great. And of course, the Indie Trilogy. Static Man, you got a nice line. That's a good weekend of watching right there, my friend. That is a good weekend of watching. All right, Murray Reich writes, did you see the trailer to Stuber? It's a comedy with Dave Bautista and Kumail Nanjiani. An Uber driver picks up a detective who then gets entangled with him along the ride to fight crime. Really funny. They actually showed us a whole bunch of Stuber at CinemaCon this year. So they showed us the trailer, and then they also showed us a big extended scene from it. Gotta say, it looks pretty funny. It really does look funny. And, you know, I'm a big fan of Dave Bautista. I've been a big fan of his for years. Just a super awesome, humble, wonderful guy. I love the opportunities I've had to chat with him. Big fan of his. I didn't think this movie sounded any good. And then I saw the stuff that they played at CinemaCon, and I tell you what, the audience ate it up. And you're right, Murray, it looks really funny. It looks really funny. So if you guys have not seen the trailer for that, and believe me, the scenes they showed us are funnier than the trailer. And I believe it's an R-rated film too, so... And I love Kumail Nanjiani. I mean, this dude in The Big Sick, he just won me over for life. I'm going to be a fan of his forever. But, yeah, it looks really good. Josh Quick writes... 2019 Lion King should have been in Wakanda. There, you just called it, Josh. Shared cinematic universe. You're going to find out at the end of the movie, you know, Simba and Nala are going to hold up their new, with Rafiki holding up their new baby on Pride Rock. The screen goes dark, and then it comes back up, and you're going to see off in a distance T'Challa watching this, T'Challa and Okoye watching this going on, saying, the lions have a new king. And that's it. And it's going to be shared cinematic universe. That was a terrible T'Challa impersonation I just did. Why do I try doing, I do terrible impersonations. Anyway, it's going to be Lion King MCU, big shared cinematic universe, and then Mufasa's going to come back from the unsnapping. He's going to kill Thanos. Everybody's happy. There you go, Josh. You just set it all up. All right, Joseph Farella writes, John, Endgame, NFL Draft, and Game of Thrones, supposedly Battle of Winterfell, in the same weekend. Should employers give everyone that Monday off? Love you, man. Man, I knew the draft was coming up. I didn't realize it was the same weekend. Holy crap, really? And you know what? Here's the funny thing. I'm a big football fan. I don't watch drafts. Who cares? I can read about the drafts tomorrow. Even as hockey, I've never watched the draft. I don't care about, I can read the draft. I don't have to watch it live. The NFL draft is a big deal. A lot of people watch the NFL draft. I don't know why, but hey, they do. That makes for a crazy, look, dude, that weekend, there are going to be a lot of people calling in sick that Monday. Not just because they were up all night watching all these things, but then they're also going to be wanting to watch them again the next day. I think that this is going to be record number of call-in sick days, Joseph. Record number of call-in sick days. Corey Harper writes, watch Getting Started video last night. Loved it. Thanks so much, Corey. What Corey's talking about is, I put together a video a number of years ago. It's a 2-hour video called Getting Started in like YouTubing, podcasting, and blogging, where I give a full just rundown about how to get started and all that kind of stuff, how to grow, all that kind of nonsense. It's like 5 years old now. I should redo it pretty soon, but if you want to see that video as well, just search YouTube for John Campea Getting Started, and it'll be the very first video that pops up. Go and check that out, and I hope you found it helpful, Corey. Corey follows up with, my endgame theory is that when Ant-Man tries to jump up the rectum of Thanos, he just runs into a second chin. Sorry, guys, mission failed. You know, it's funny. I did my companion video, and the title topic of the companion video is why the Ant-Man theory doesn't work. And if you're interested in that, you can go check that out, but why the Ant-Man theory does not work and would not work in this environment. Aliyah Abdel Gawad writes, at CinemaCon, any inquiry regarding Variety article, the exploitation of janitors? If so, any positive news indicating improvement? If no, wish you did ask. Here's the thing about CinemaCon. CinemaCon is not about the movie theaters making announcements. The movie theaters don't make announcements at this thing. CinemaCon is for the movie theaters. So what happens is studios come and present to the movie theaters. Technology companies come and present to the movie theaters. It's studios and technology companies and services and all that kind of stuff. They come and make their announcements there. They show things and they try to sell things to the movie owners, or I mean the movie theater owners. It's not the movie theater owners that do presentations or announcements or anything like that. The whole convention is for them. So there was no opportunity or anything like that for a Q&A of the theater owners. They don't do that there. So no, there was no opportunity to ask anybody about it. And I got wrecked in the last day and a half that I was there because of my throat, probably because of that 6-hour video I did, but whatever. So no, there was no opportunity to talk about it. I haven't seen any movie theater chain address it or anything like that at this point, and there was no opportunity to ask anybody about it because they just weren't sessions like that. That's not what it was for, just to be clear. But it is something that needs to be addressed. The Bearded One writes, maybe the Brightburn kid is sent to Earth to wipe out life or enslave it for when his people arrive, then move on and do so to other planets. Well, I mean, considering Brightburn looks like a complete flip of the Superman mythology, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they also flipped the mythology of why Jor-El, or the Jor-El type character in Brightburn, sent this baby to Earth. Wasn't to become their inspiration and their saviors, but sent him there to become their enslaver and their master. I wouldn't doubt that in the least, Bearded. I wouldn't doubt that. I think you're onto something. I'll actually be surprised if that's not the case. So we'll find out soon, man. I cannot wait for that movie. I'm Upset writes, shame we'll never see Venom versus Thanos. Did we really need to see Venom versus Thanos? Could Venom really fight Thanos? I don't know. That's something I was looking forward to. Ian Preston writes, It took me a few times to appreciate the new Scar. I do miss Jeremy Irons, but I think this new Scar brings up more of a mature, devious presence, especially visually. That, like I said in the show, what Chiwetel Ejiofor could not do and must not do is try to do a Jeremy Irons impersonation. Don't be Jeremy Irons' Scar. Embody the spirit of Scar, but make Scar your own. And that's what he did. And I loved what they gave us. I love this Scar. Is it the cartoon Jeremy Irons Scar? No, it's different. But it's got all that sinister feel to it. It's got this Scar has an absolute sinister feel to it. The design is breathtaking. I love it. I absolutely love it, Preston. Speed King 565 writes, aside from Timon and Pumbaa, this trailer was kind of underwhelming. Oh, okay. Also, I feel that animated characters are able to show more emotion than photorealistic. Well, that's because animated characters over-exaggerate everything. And that's fine. That's what you do. Like, whereas a real person would go, in animation, they go, and this is supposed to be photorealistic. So it's supposed to have a more natural kind of feel to it. In animation, when a character, like in live action, somebody laughs, they go, ha, 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 ha. In animation, when they laugh, they go, yeah, 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 yeah. That's part of the medium. It's the over-exaggeration of that stuff that communicates in an animated format. In photorealistic, you want it to feel more natural. So, hey, you know what? It's all subjective, man. If it hit you and you were underwhelmed by it, no problem with that. All I can say is that it struck me in a very different way. And I was ripe to be disappointed. Like my expectations were so high, I was clearly set up to be disappointed. And this did not disappoint me. I loved every single frame of this damn thing. I cannot wait. And you felt differently, and that's totally cool, man. That's totally cool. That's what being a film fan's all about. Possum Jenkins just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Possum. Dirk Diggler writes, hey, John, I've never been to a 3-hour movie. Can you provide preparation pointers for going to see Avengers Endgame without going to the restroom? I wish there was an intermission. Dude, me too. They absolutely should have an intermission. It's idiotic that they don't. But, couple things. Number one, hold off going to the bathroom until the very, very last second before the movie starts. Don't go when you get to the theater. Don't go when the trailers start. Wait until you're getting to what you think might be the final trailer, then run out and go to the bathroom. You want to hold that to the very last second. You want an empty bladder. You want your reset point to be as close to the beginning of the movie as possible. And then, unfortunately, even though one of the great joys of going to the movie theater is grabbing a soda, don't get a soda. Don't get a drink. That sucks. I mean, I already hate that. Part of the thing I love about my movie-going experience is having a popcorn and a soda. That's part of my movie-going experience. I can't do that with Endgame. I'm not going to be able to do that. Because if you have a soda, you're going to have to go before the movie ends. Because there's a lot of soda in those things. So that sucks. But, yeah, so my absolute biggest pointers, number one, don't drink anything, but most importantly, hold off going to the bathroom until the very last moment before the movie begins. At that very last second that you think you can get to the restroom and get back to your seat as the movie starts. That's my best advice. Good luck to you, sir. Happy watching. All right. Orange Hand. We'll just take a couple more here and then we'll wrap it up. Orange Hand writes, I'm so glad the Lion King trailer used the Pride Rock music. Simba ascending Pride Rock in the rain to me is still the most epic moment ever put on film. Dude. Ba, 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 ba. As his paws start to walk up Pride Rock and he lets out that roar. One of the greatest grr moments, cinematic history, period, end sentence. Totally with you on that, Orange Hand. C-Spice writes, Lion King isn't clicking for me, but I'm happy with the fans. Hey, it's like anything, man. Not everything is going to hit everybody. I'm almost at my limit here. Not everything will work for everybody the same way. And hey, man, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that didn't work for them the same way that it worked for me and Rob. Like, I don't expect that everybody had the same reaction that I had. Not in the least. Anyway, Jeremiah Jacquez writes, the Lion King trailer was awesome. Cry time, so much cry time. Oh my God, I'm just get chills thinking about this damn trailer. I can't wait to go back and watch it again. Okay, final question today. Comes to us from DC Patience, who writes, John said he didn't like the Detective Pikachu scene at CinemaCon. I did not. But Rob did. Can you tell us more about the scene and what you didn't like? I'm not going to go into details because that would be spoilery. Damn, why am I out of liquid? Hold on a second. One last little sip. You know what, DC? I'll have to answer that in the companion video. Everybody, Roman, Dick, all the way down, everybody else, everybody who sent in a question, it'll get answered in the companion video. But I got to wrap up for now because I'm out of voice. Don't worry, all the questions you get sent in, that you sent in, will get answered in a companion video. But my voice is now over the limit and I'm done. Oh my God. Okay, that will do it for me for now, guys. Thanks for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.